Okay, let's just jump right in. What if you could retire, like decades earlier than you ever thought possible? It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today we're going to dig into a super powerful financial strategy that's actually making this a reality for a lot of people. It's called the FIRE method. So let me ask you something, a really powerful question. What if you had the freedom to live life completely on your own terms? I mean, think about it. For a lot of us, that's what retirement is really all about. It's not just about stopping work, it's about gaining the freedom to choose what you do with your time. And you know what? That desire for freedom, that's the real engine behind the whole FIRE movement. It's so much more than just another financial buzzword. It's a real, practical framework for taking back control of your life. So let's break it down. What exactly is it? Okay, so FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And honestly, the strategy itself is surprisingly simple. I mean, it really all boils down to just three key things. You save aggressively, you invest smartly, and then you live off those investments for the rest of your life. That's the core idea. But is this for real? Is it actually achievable? Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you about a guy named Pete Adney, who's better known online as Mr. Money Mustache. This guy followed the FIRE principles to a T, and get this, he retired from his job as a software engineer at age 30. And yeah, he's still living off those investments today. It's possible. All right, so how do you actually make something like this happen? Well, the whole FIRE strategy is really built on three simple but incredibly powerful pillars. And here they are. It's save more, spend wisely, and invest smartly. Pretty straightforward, right? So let's break each of these down, starting with the big one, how to seriously supercharge your savings. First up, save more. Now, the most hardcore FIRE disciples, they aim to save an incredible 50 to 70% of their income. Yeah, I know, that number can sound pretty daunting, almost impossible, but there's a really important mindset shift that makes it way more achievable than you'd think. And here's that mindset shift. See, we're all kind of programmed to focus on cutting expenses, right? But the thing is, there's only so much you can actually cut. The real game changer, the real power, comes from increasing your income. Because think about it, that has virtually no limit. And this isn't just theory, it works in the real world. For example, there's this story about a data scientist in Bangalore. He started leveraging his skills on the weekends, doing some consulting, and he more than quadrupled his monthly savings. Just like that. That's the incredible power of focusing on the income side of the equation. Okay, next up is pillar number 2, spend wisely. And look, this isn't about depriving yourself or living on bread and water. It's just about making smart, intentional choices. Super simple changes, like cooking more at home or finally canceling those subscriptions you never use. They can make a massive difference. And I mean, the results can be huge. Just by making these kinds of rational choices, you could cut your monthly expenses by up to 30%. 30%. That's literally like giving yourself a massive raise, and you don't even have to talk to your boss. How cool is that? And all that extra cash you've saved brings us right to our third and final pillar, invest smartly. The goal here is pretty simple. Invest as much as you can, as early as you can, and just be consistent. You want to harness that amazing power of compounding. And the go-to strategy for most people in the FIRE community? It's using low-cost index funds. They basically let you invest in the entire stock market all at once. Super simple, super effective. So, okay, you're saving a ton. You're investing it wisely. But what's the magic number? How much do you actually need to hit that financially independent status? Well, that's where the famous 4% rule comes into play. But, and this is a big but, we need to give it a little bit of a reality check. All right, the 4% rule is basically a quick and dirty way to figure out your target retirement number. It's simple math. You take your annual living expenses and multiply them by 25. So look at this example. If you need 14 lakh rupees a year to live on, you multiply that by 25, and you get your required corpus, 3.5 crore rupees. The whole idea is that you can then safely withdraw 4% of that total every year forever. But here's the catch. And there's always a catch rate. The 4% rule is a decent guideline, a good place to start. But it is not a universal law of finance. And honestly, for a lot of people listening, it might not be the right rule for you at all. So what's the problem with it? Where does it fall short? Well, for one, it was designed for a typical 30-year retirement, not the 50-plus years an early retiree could be looking at. It's also super US-centric and based on market data from the 90s, which might not be the best guide for the future or for markets outside the US. At the end of the day, it's a one-size-fits-all formula, and let's be real, our financial lives are anything but one-size-fits-all. Okay, so if a generic off-the-shelf formula isn't going to cut it, what's the solution? It's pretty clear, really. You have to craft your own personal plan, one that's built from the ground up around your unique life and your personal goals. And a truly personal plan, it has to take all your specific variables into account. Things like your current age, when you actually want to retire, your life expectancy, even stuff like your current investments, your savings rate, and what you expect your investments to return. Post-retirement expenses, inflation, these are all the crucial inputs you need for a truly realistic FIRE calculation. And that, right there, is the real magic of having a personalized plan. It lets you see the trade-offs so clearly. You want to retire sooner? Okay, the plan will show you exactly how much more you need to save. Maybe you want to spend more in retirement? No problem. The plan will show you how much longer you might need to work. It puts you in the driver's seat. You get to make the decisions. And all this really brings us to one of the most important takeaways. FIRE is not some rigid, all-or-nothing dogma. Far from it. It's actually a super flexible framework that you can bend and shape to fit your unique goals and your own lifestyle. In fact, that flexibility has led to a bunch of different flavors of FIRE. You've got lean FIRE for people who are happy with a more minimalist lifestyle. Then there's fat FIRE for those aiming for a much higher standard of living in retirement. And there's even coast FIRE. That's where you save enough early on that you can just take a less demanding job and let your investments coast the rest of the way. There's really a path for almost everyone. So let's end where we began with a question for you. Now that you've seen the framework, the strategies, and just how flexible this all can be, what does your financial independence look like? What does that freedom really mean to you? Because that's the real question the whole FIRE movement encourages every single one of us to answer.